Sounds good. Okay, I'll mute everybody now. And as we take a comfortable seat, take that time, shift, do what you need to do to make it really comfortable. Allow yourself that space for a long spine as you take these initial centering breaths. And then move your sitting bones. And as you rest your hands down onto your legs, you don't necessarily need to push hard, but just feel the pressure of your hands on your legs, allowing that little extra bit of grounding. And as you let your eyes close now, start to tune into a soft but full breath. Not necessarily trying to make it the deepest breath you've ever taken, but instead having gentleness in mind. Even think of inviting your breath in. And as you invite your breath in, tune into your body, doing a scan from your feet, your legs, your hips, through your torso, your shoulders and arms, the back of your neck and the front of your neck, all the way up to the crown of your head, letting yourself sense, letting yourself be aware of what has shown up for you just as you've started to sit. And now take a deeper breath, consciously making your breath longer. Inhale slow and deep. Exhale long and full. And now draw hands to connect at heart center and press your palms together. Lift your heart space up. Take a deep inhale and fully expand. Exhale and bow towards your heart. Then softly opening your eyes, release your hands down and gently draw your shoulders up and back. Lengthen up through the back of your neck and take a couple of slow movements in a twist as you exhale. Draw your right shoulder a little forward, your left shoulder back. Inhale back into center and exhale left shoulder forward, right shoulder back. And move just a couple more times on each side, taking this gentle twist, starting to check in along your spine, and even starting to think about allowing that twist to happen more from your low ribs and up rather than from your low back. Then inhale, come back into center, hands work out toward your knees, press your spine back into a cat-like pose, chin tucks in, and take a couple deep breaths here. And as you breathe, notice all the way down to the base, to your seat. Then inhale, draw your heart forward, tilt your pelvis so your belly is coming forward. And exhale, press back. Inhale, draw your heart forward. And exhale, press back. Inhale, sit tall. Now switch the cross of your legs. Coming to the less comfortable cross for yourself. Shift your sitting bones. And now this time, as you take your hands to your upper thighs, right up at your hip creases, press down, and if it's comfortable, lean a little bit. And as you lean a little bit, lengthen from hip to armpit, grow a little longer. And even add a little bit of movement here through your torso to help that action happen. And then walk your hands out to your knees. And again, gentle twist as you exhale. Draw your right shoulder forward, your left shoulder back. But pause here, take an inhale and lengthen a little bit further. Exhale, low ribs in to help you twist a little more. Now, if it feels good, feel free to reach across with your right hand to your left knee or thigh. Left fingertips behind you. As you press down and lift up taller through your spine, let a little tilt of your pelvis happen so your belly is coming forward. But then find engagement with your low belly without letting your low back push back. Engage the muscles of your low belly, your low abdomen. Lift your ribs a little higher. And now exhale, low ribs draw in to help you twist a little more. Inhale, come back into center. Exhale, left shoulder forward, right shoulder a little back. And again, pause, take an inhale and grow longer. Notice that tilt of your pelvis, your belly is coming forward. Exhale, low ribs draw in to help that twist happen. Maybe you now reach across with your left hand to your right knee or thigh. Maybe you keep your hand at your left knee, that's okay too. Press down, find lots of lift and length. Keep that tilt of your pelvis, belly coming forward. Exhale, low belly engages, low ribs engage. Inhale, come back into center. Hands work out to your knees. Exhale, press your spine back into your cat-like pose. Inhale, draw your belly and your heart forward. And then move with your breath 2 more times. Full, deep inhales. Long, full exhales. Moving with your breath. Now inhale, sit tall. Shift forward onto hands and knees. And from hands and knees, we're going to quickly just take a stretch through one side of the low back and then the other side of the low back. So from hands and knees, cross right leg behind your left. Use your hands to support you to push yourself back so that your hips are moving toward your heel. And I'll turn sideways so that you can hopefully see a little easier. Little cross-legged version of your child's pose. And that shift back with your hips is as far as your body needs. Walk your hands a little forward, and now you're going to take 3 deep breaths. Inhale, rise back up, uncrossing your legs. And then cross left leg behind your right. Work your way back. Use your hands to help you. Hips towards your heel. And again, this is only as far back as is right for your body. So if you feel restricted right now, then maybe stay a little higher with your hips. Walk your hands forward if that's in your practice and take 3 deep breaths. Then inhale, rise to hands and knees. Set yourself up, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Toes tuck under here so you can utilize that press of your toes into the ground. Press palms and fingertips down. Rotate elbow pits forward and push, expanding into your upper back. And now gentle sway of hips side to side, just allowing a little length from hip to armpit. So as your hips sway, your shoulders stay relatively stationary, keeping that external arm bone rotation and the push. Then as you come back up to center here, you might have to reset your knees or your hands. Push again through your hands, rotate upper arm bones, stay pushing through your toes. This time you're going to engage your glutes to stay stationary and engage your low belly. Hips stay put as you move your shoulders side to side. And again, if you think of this as lengthening hip to armpit, then you might think of your armpit trying to move away from your hip. One more time on each side. Then back into center here. Elbow pits are rotating forward. Push Push into your toes and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. Just 3 breaths here. You can move however it feels good in your body. Full deep inhales, long full exhales. Find more space. And then work your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen, hands stay just above your knees. Keep that bend to your knees, send your sitting bones up and extend your heart. And now squeeze your low glutes and squeeze your low belly. And walk your hands up your legs to rise all the way up to stand. Bend your feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. Give a good push. It helps to bend your knees to do that. Turn your palms open. Close your eyes and take a moment to feel the stability of this mountain pose. And now inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, soft knees to fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Fingertips can be on the floor or your blocks, wherever it feels the best. But I want you to rise a little bit with your torso and send your sitting bones up. Knees stay bent even as you tilt your pelvis. So now, as you find that place where you have maybe a little lumbar curve, engage your low glutes and your low belly without losing the lumbar curve. Tricky, tricky. But you're going to stay a little bit lifted here. Knees are bent and sway your hips side to side. Same thing that we did on our hands and knees, where your shoulders stay stationary, but your hips move. But the whole time you're keeping low glutes, low belly engaged to support your low back. Then come back into center, and now it's the shoulders that move. And as your shoulders move, again, keep low glutes, low belly engaged. Excuse me. Then back into center, take an exhale and fold over your legs. Inhale, lengthen part way. Plant fingertips on blocks or the floor. Step your right foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips. Take a full breath. Extend your heart forward. And now setting right hand on a block or the floor on the outside edge of your mat. Left thumb comes into your hip crease. And now press your hip crease back in space. Bend deeper into your front knee. Push your back toes down and lift your right hip up. As you turn your belly and your heart to the left side, feel free to stretch your top arm to the sky if that feels good. If that makes your shoulder turn in a strange way, then maybe keep your hand at your hip. Full deep breath. On your exhale, both hands come down to the inside here, and you can always have blocks for your hands. Back knee can stay lifted or down, your choice. Extend your heart forward and then work down as low as your body is ready for, coming into the alligator pose. As you find this alligator pose, take a moment to notice what it is for you. This tends to be a pretty deep hip opener for some people, for many people. And so notice what that is. Press down with your back knee and think of letting that back hip lift a little as opposed to sinking into it. That sinking into it, especially if you're hypermobile through your hips, tends to do some wear and tear on joints and ligaments. So push down and then push down with your left big toe and send your left hip back in space. So think of that wrapping action of your glute. Good. Now work up to your hands and step back to hands and knees. Pause on hands and knees. Rotate elbow pits forward and push. Push your toes down and lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog. Take a big deep breath. With that upper arm bone rotation and a little bend to your knees, tilt your sitting bones up further. And then sway hips side to side, keeping your shoulders where they are. And now walk your feet forward, coming into your forward fold. Inhale and lengthen part way. And exhale, fold over your legs. And now planting fingertips, again, blocks or the floor. Step your left foot back into your lunge. Center with your hips, drawing that right hip crease back in space and bending deeper into your right knee. Push your back toes down and feel that lift of your hip here on your left hip. Then plant left hand on a block of the floor on the outside edge of your mat. Right thumb into your hip crease and push your hip crease back again. Bend deeper into your front knee. Push your back toes down and begin to turn. Take that twist to the right side. If it feels good, you can always take your right arm to the sky. Take a full big breath. Exhaling, both hands come down to the inside. And again, back knee can stay up or down. If you want that little added work, you can keep your back knee lifted. As you extend your heart forward, growing longer, think of your front ribs moving forward. Work down toward one elbow, maybe two, coming to that lizard pose or alligator pose on the second side. So again, push with your back knee, allowing your hip to lift instead of sinking down. Push with your right big toe and wrap your right hip back. Take a big deep breath. Then rise back up to your hands and settle back onto hands and knees. And again, root down with your palms and fingertips. Rotate elbow pits and push. Lift your hips up and back, downward facing dog pose. And as you shift into this pose, you're keeping that alignment of elbow pits rotating forward and pushing. But think of from your lats out through your hands, lift your sitting bones. And then walk your way forward, coming into your forward fold at the front of your mat. Take an inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Hands to hips. Push your hips back, start to lift up and open through your heart and rise all the way up. Feet inner hip distance apart and parallel. Lift and spread your toes and then root them down. And then turn your palms open. Mountain pose. Closing your eyes, take a moment to feel your body in this space, right here, right now. And softly open your eyes, shift your balance over to your left foot, and then touch your right toes behind you, keeping your hips centered forward. From this place, engage your left glute and then pick your right toes up off the ground. If that's not in your practice, you can always set them back down. Think of lifting from your inner thigh, so your toes want to turn a little bit outward. I want you to try to rotate your leg so that your toes stay turning down. Your leg is straight, even though your toes are picked up off the ground, lifted. Lift your chest, lift your heart. Now low belly, low ribs engage. Take one more big breath right here. And then set right foot back on the ground. Pause and feel both feet. And then shift your weight over to the right foot. Squeeze your right glute. Hips stay centered toward the front of your mat. Touch your left toes behind you. Pause again. Re-engage your right glute and then lift from the inner thigh. Left leg is lifting. Now tone your low belly and your low ribs. Inhale, lift your shoulders up and back. Lift your head. Take a full deep breath. Good. And then set left foot down on the ground. Pause for a moment and feel both feet set. Take a full deep breath. Then shift your weight onto your left foot again. And this time, if you want to turn this more into a warrior 3, you can. but hips stay centered with the front of your mat, even as you squeeze your glute, shift your weight to the left foot, and start to lift your right thigh. As you lift your right thigh, maybe you hinge at the left hip, working toward parallel with your body. But just remember that toes touching is always an option. And I want our thigh to lift before our torso comes down, okay? So now, low belly, low ribs engage. Take a big, deep breath. Flex your right foot if you're coming to this warrior 3 variation and push through your heel. Wrap your left hip back, evening out your hips. Take another full breath. Now squeeze your left glute, push into the floor. Inhale, rise back up. Reset both feet. Pause for a moment and simply feel. And now find your balance onto your right foot. Pause, engage your right glute, push into the floor, and bring your left toes behind you. Start to lift from your left inner thigh. As you lift, you might feel like a little back bend starts to happen. This is where you tone your low belly and your low ribs to support your back body. And then maybe come into a more parallel position with your torso. Take a big deep breath, send your right hip crease back in space, lift from your left inner thigh. Take one more full deep inhale, long full exhale. Then inhale, squeeze your right glute to rise all the way back up and set your foot down. Feet are inner hip distance apart and parallel. Again, lift and spread your toes and root. Take an inhale, stretch up overhead. Exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale and lengthen part way. Exhale and fold. Flat your hands and step all the way back to hands and knees. And from hands and knees, take 3 full cat-cows. As you exhale, you're rounding your spine upward. Inhaling, releasing your belly downward. Exhale, broad through your upper back. Inhale, shoulder blades engage. One more full breath. Then on your next exhale, round upward through your spine. Set shoelace parts of your feet on the ground. Knees wide if it's comfortable, settle hips back towards your heels into your child's pose. And take a full deep breath. Then inhale, gently come all the way back upright. And come down onto your seat. And now grab pillow or bolster. You can always grab a thick rolled up blanket if you want, if that's what you have. But set whatever you have underneath your legs. And then let your legs come to rest over it. Move your sitting bones back and broad. This is one of the ways we support our low back, right? As we create that tilt of our pelvis so our belly can come forward. That creates space and it creates a lumbar curve. So now open your legs up as wide as your pillow or bolster. If that's uncomfortable, you can shift it back to narrow if you want, but sometimes this is a lovely thing to do for your low back. I always like to shift my sitting bones again. Press your fingertips down, lift up and open through your heart. And from this place, maybe you stay right here because this shape of your body is still a fold. Or maybe you work your elbows down to your pillow or bolster. Maybe you reach out for your feet or your arms or hands to the floor in front of you. Find where that is for you in this more restorative version of your forward fold. One of the things I like to do is to stack some things up underneath my head here. So you can tune into what feels really good to your body right now. Tune into what it is that you're holding on to in your body. can take the time to make little shifts to help yourself feel better. And gently inhale and rise all the way back up to a tall spine. Walk your feet in, slip your bolster out from underneath, and set props aside. And now as you lay onto your back, pull your knees up close just for a moment. And we'll do a little pulsing here. You can always rock side to side instead if that feels better. But exhale, pull your knees in a little closer. And inhale, let them release a little. Exhale, pull your knees in. And inhale, release them. A couple more this way. And now keep a hold of your right knee. Extend your left leg all the way out against the ground. Take a big exhale and draw your knee in even closer. Inhale, switch legs, left leg in. Exhale, closer. Inhale, switch sides. Exhale, right knee comes in. And now right knee opens up to the right side. A little more hip opening. Flex your right foot. Take a big, deep breath. Inhale back into center. And exhale, right knee in. Inhale, switch sides. And exhale, left knee in. Inhale, open left knee up to the left side. Full breath. Next inhale, left knee back in. And exhale, squeeze it in. Inhale, release both legs out against the ground. Reach your arms overhead. You can clasp your hands if you want or keep your arms separate. But reach through your heels, reach through your arms. Take a big breath into your low back. And now begin to set yourself up into your most comfortable resting pose. And if you do have some low back tension, then placing that pillow or bolster underneath your thighs is a really nice thing to do for yourself. Feel free to add the blanket over your hips and belly for a little bit more grounding. Start to find that comfortable resting pose for yourself and your Shavasana. Begin to take a deeper breath. Slowly and gently add movement into fingers and into toes. As you're ready to bend your knees and roll over to one side. And then slowly push your way back up to your seat. And take a moment to find that comfortable seat. And let's take one hand to our heart, the other hand, peace fingers or all your fingers to the floor beside you. And with your eyes closed, take a moment to tune into your breath and tune into the connection that you have with the ground. Have a very peaceful, very beautiful rest of your day. Namaste. Thanks, everybody. I'll post it. Thanks, Susan. Thanks, Kelly.